Yeah. What the fuck? Okay. Hello, what's up? Welcome back. So today's video is going to be my mid-year book freakout tag. I always forget the title for it. I hope that's right. Before I actually start the video though, I do want to bring y'all's attention to the links that are in my description to help support the Black Lives Matter movement, the Black LGBTQ plus community, and all of that. Please continue to stay informed and stay active, and please continue to care about these issues year round and not just when it's at the front of the news and trending on social media and everything. Please, I beg of you, do not forget about it as social media and the news cycle moves on from it. So please definitely check out all of those links in my description. Okay, so I have not looked at these questions yet. I do not remember what they are, but I'm just gonna throw answers out there and it's gonna be fun. So this year, I think that I have read 25 books. I just finished my 25th book of the year this morning, which is like pretty okay for me. I think by this time last year, I had read about 20 books, so I'm doing a little bit better. I have been having a little bit of trouble with reading since I started work again like last month, but I'm getting back into it, and I think that the fact that I read a lot of series in the first part of the year definitely helped me out with like my number of books read. But like, I don't care about the number. I care about actually liking the books that I read, like all of them. I feel like I have been having a pretty good year in terms of that. So like, yeah. Anyways, first question is, what is the best book that you've read so far in 2020? I would say that at this point, it's a tie between The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab and Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. Loved both of these books so much, but in different ways, and I definitely don't think that I can decide which one I liked better than the other yet. Chain of Gold just like really got me because I was already so invested in the Shadowhunter world previously, but The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue was just so new and like life-changing in a way for me, and yeah. So it's a tie between those two books as of right now. The second question is, what is the best sequel you've read so far in 2020? And I mean, I reread the Percy Jackson series at the beginning of the year, so I think I have to say The Last Olympian. Like, I feel like I'm legally obligated to answer The Last Olympian. The third question is, new release you haven't read yet but want to. I think for this question, I'm gonna choose A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne Brown. I don't know what it is about this book that just intrigued me so much, but it is a YA fantasy. It is very new. It just came out like 2 weeks ago, and it is enemies to lovers. So say less, I'm already there. I'm really excited to read this one, hopefully soon. The next question is biggest disappointment of the year. That would absolutely have to be Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. Look how big this book is. And I did not end up liking it. That is such a shame. I honestly really didn't like much of anything about this book, and I was enjoying the series so much up to this point. It was the last book in the series. It's 900 pages long, and I just didn't like any direction that the story took. I didn't like most any of the plot points, and it was just extremely frustrating and extremely disappointing to me. The next question is biggest surprise. I think for that one, I would definitely have to say City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, aka the last book in the Mortal Instruments series. I gave that book 5 stars after rating some of the other books 1 and 2 stars. I never in my lifetime expected to like a Mortal Instruments book that much. That book was just genuinely good to me. Like, I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, that was the biggest surprise for sure. The next question is favorite new author, either someone who has just debuted or someone who is new to you. And I would probably say V.E. Schwab. I've just had this huge feeling for a very long time that V.E. Schwab was going to become one of my new favorite authors, and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue was my first V.E. Schwab book, and it's still the only book that I've read by her, but I just really can see that her writing style and just her characters are going to really work for me, or at least I hope so. So I'm going to prematurely say that V.E. Schwab is probably one of my newest favorite authors. The next question is newest fictional crush. Julian Blackthorne? I mean, I'm sitting here wearing these Cordelia and Emma Carstairs earrings and necklace, so I feel like that doesn't need any more explanation. No, actually, but I do want to say that I really didn't go into much detail about like characters and stuff in the video where I reviewed every single Shadowhunters book, which I'm gonna put up there, because if you haven't watched it, please go watch it, because I kind of died inside making that video. I just really love Julian Blackthorne, and I feel like I haven't expressed that enough. Really identified with how morally gray that he was, but in like a loyal kind of way, in the way that he didn't care what happened to anyone else except for his family, and he would have burned the world down, and as long as his family was okay, he didn't really care or give a fuck what happened to anyone else. And I just really enjoyed that, because I feel like those types of selfless characters can get a little bit annoying sometimes when they want to save everyone and when they want to find a solution that benefits everyone in the situation. I feel like it's just unrealistic. So I felt like having a character that literally only cared about his people, and as long as his people were good, like he was good, I felt like that was a little bit more realistic. I just enjoyed that so much. I just think he's neat. The next question is newest favorite character, and y'all already know it is Miss Cordelia Carstairs from the Last Hours series. I literally have a portrait of her sitting on my bookshelf. That's how much I love her. To be honest with you, I don't know if I want to be her or if I want to be with her, so she could also go for the newest crush question as well. Cordelia is everything to me. She's my queen, I live to serve her, and that's pretty much all there is to it. The next question is book that made you cry, and to be honest, y'all would be surprised that most books that I read make me cry. If I care even a little bit about the characters and they go through something like sad, I will cry. But the one book that I will say made me cry and feel a lot of things is Love from A to Z by S.K. Ali. I just want what they have, period. That's really all there is to it. This was just a very beautiful love story, and it just had like a very interesting format because it was like kind of told in diary entries from the two characters. Their love story as a whole was just really beautiful, and it made me feel a lot of things. The next question is, what is a book that made you happy? And I will just go ahead and say the book that I finished literally like an hour ago, Radiance by Grace Draven. This book was amazing. I don't read much romance, and I definitely don't read much fantasy romance. I think this is probably the first one that I've ever read, and this was fucking amazing. The chemistry between the characters was the best thing that I've ever read. I gave it 5 stars. I highly recommend it if you're looking for that type of thing. It's just really good, and it made me super happy. The next question is, what is the most beautiful book that you've bought this year? And I would probably just go ahead and say this paperback edition of The Poppy War. The orange, the floppiness, it is just really hitting all of the elements for me, and I just really love this color and this design. I like it a lot more than the hardback edition, and yeah, I am really excited to read this, but I just love looking at it, and the color like calms me down, which I know is gonna be the opposite of the contents of the book, but yeah. And finally, the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So if you did not watch my last video, I talked a little bit about it, but I have a challenge for myself that I'm probably going to be getting a little bit more serious about soon. But my challenge is to read my entire physical TBR by the end of this year. And I have about 40 books, I would say, on my physical TBR. But I'm just going to go ahead and pull some notable ones off the shelf so I can show y'all. I definitely need to read The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is probably happening like in the next month, hopefully. But yeah, I need to read this. I need to read the series, but this is the only one on my physical TBR right now, so I definitely need to get to it. Another book that I need to read is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. Everyone loves this book, and I want to see if I will also love it. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that I don't think I'm going to love it as much as everyone else does, because I personally already know that I don't relate much to the actual premise of the story of working hard and getting good grades. I never really cared about my grades, so I don't know if I'm going to relate as much, but I really hope that I still like the story as a whole. I also really need to read Darius the Great Is Not Okay by Adib Khorram. I have heard this compared a lot to Ariandante, which is my favorite book of all time. If I had to choose one, that would be it. I have started this book, but it is very much like Ariandante about the main character's like mental health, and he's like clinically depressed. I didn't really want to read about that at the time because it was just a little bit too real for me, so I do want to pick this book up when it is the right time for me, and I hope that I really enjoy it. The last book that I'll mention is actually a new buy for me, but it is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I really want to read this book because I've heard so much about it. I've actually heard not one single bad thing about it. I also have The 100,000 Kingdoms, but I think I'm a little bit more excited for this one just because I've heard a lot more about this one. I have no doubt that I'll probably end up really enjoying it. So yeah, and it's really floppy. If I'm being honest, on my platform right now, I very much prefer paperbacks to hardbacks. I said it. Okay, so that's it. Please go check out the links in my description once again. Please let me know in the comments some of y'all's answers to these questions. Let me know what you're going to be reading this year. Let me know what's your favorite book of the year. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. See you in the next video. Bye.